The prophecy didn't just warn us. It threatened us. Stop scrolling. Look at this mural. If you played the 2018 game, you know exactly what this means for Kratos. But here's the question. Do you think Kratos can actually defy a prophecy? Or is his fate already written in the stone? Drop a defy or destiny in the comments right now. I want to see where you stand. You've seen the trailers. You've felt the chill of Fimbulwinter. But today we're going deeper than just smashing gods. We're uncovering the secrets the Aesir don't want you to know. I'm going to explain the entire story, but I've got a challenge for you. There is one hidden detail in the opening hour that changes everything about Atreus. See if you can spot it before I reveal it at the end of the video. Fimbulwinter has frozen the realms, the great wolf howls at the sun, and the ghost of Sparta is no longer just running from his past. He's fighting for his son's future. Welcome back. Today we are breaking down the end of the Norse world. We're diving into a blood, the betrayal, and the brutal fate of the Aesir gods. This isn't just a sequel, it's the conclusion of a legend. From the frozen wastes of Midgard to the fires of Muspelheim, we're explaining every twist in the prophecy. Who is Angrboda? Can Thor be stopped? And the biggest question of all, can Kratos truly change his fate, or is he destined to die in his son's arms? Whether you're a Spartan veteran or a newcomer to the Norse realms, you're in the right place. Grab your Mimir's head, get comfortable, and let's tear this prophecy apart. Fimbulwinter has arrived, and the fate of the Nine Realms hangs by a thread. Kratos wants to hide from his past, but Atreus is chasing a destiny that might lead to his father's death. Today, we're breaking down the full, brutal, and emotional journey of God of War Ragnarök. Grab your axe, it's time to face the Allfather. What's up, everyone? Today we are diving into one of the greatest sequels ever made. From the first punch thrown by Thor to the final fall of Asgard, I'm explaining the entire story of Ragnarök, so you don't miss a single detail. Let's get into it. The peace is shattered when Odin, the Allfather, and a very drunk, very angry Thor show up at their doorstep. Odin offers a deal. Stop looking for Tyr, and he'll leave them alone. Kratos, knowing Odin's reputation, says the Greek equivalent of get out. What follows is a world-shaking brawl between Kratos and Thor. While they trade blows, Atreus reveals he's been secretly searching for Tyr, the Norse god of war, believing he's alive and can help stop Ragnarok. Kratos and Atreus travel through the realms, eventually finding Tyr imprisoned in a Svartalfheim mine. To their surprise, Tyr is a broken pacifist who refuses to fight. The looming prophecy. Atreus learns more about his identity as Loki. He discovers the Ironwood, a hidden part of Jotunheim, where he meets Angrboda. She shows him a mural predicting that Kratos will die during Ragnarok, and Atreus will serve Odin. Terrified, Atreus decides to go to Asgard, not as a traitor, but as a double agent to find a way to save his father. While Atreus is in Asgard helping Odin rebuild a mysterious mask that can see into the rift of infinite knowledge, Kratos is forced to confront his past. The Draupnir Spear. The Huldra brothers Brock and Sindri forge a new weapon for Kratos using a drop of his blood and a magic ring. The unthinkable twist. It is revealed that the Tyr they rescued was actually Odin in disguise the whole time. When the ruse is discovered, Odin kills Brock. This shatters the group, and a grieving, vengeful Sindri abandons the heroes. Kratos realizes that to win, he must become a leader, not just a killer. He and Atreus blow the Gjallarhorn, summoning the armies of the Nine Realms to the gates of Asgard. The final bosses. Thor vs. Kratos Round 2. Kratos defeats Thor but chooses mercy. He tells Thor they must be better for their children. Thor agrees, but Odin immediately kills Thor for his weakness. Odin vs. the family. Kratos, Atreus, and a reformed Freya team up to take down the Allfather. They defeat him, and Atreus traps Odin's soul in a marble. In a final act of grief, Sindri appears and smashes the marble, ending Odin forever. God of War Ragnarök is a third-person action-adventure game. It features an over-the-shoulder player-controlled camera, and the game is presented with no camera cuts or loading screens. The gameplay is similar to the previous installment, God of War 2018, including being single-player only. Throughout the game, players battle Norse mythological foes, with more enemy types than in the prior entry, including newer enemies such as Einherjar, wyverns, stalkers, centaur-like creatures with antlers, phantoms, human raiders, and Nukkans, among many others. The developers also added more mini-bosses to give the game more variety. The player primarily controls the character Kratos in combo-based combat and puzzle game elements. Kratos' main weapons are a magical battle axe called the Leviathan Axe, and his signature double-chained blades, the Blades of Chaos. He also dons his original Guardian shield and utilizes hand-to-hand combat. The Leviathan Axe is infused with ice elemental magic. It can be thrown at enemies and magically summoned back to his hand, similar to Thor's hammer Mjolnir. The weapon can be thrown at environmental objects to trigger a damaging explosion, and freeze objects and some enemies in place for puzzle solving until resummoned. The Blades of Chaos, infused with fire elemental magic, are a pair of blades attached to chains that can be swung around in various maneuvers. A new mechanic for Ragnarök is that the blades can be used like a grappling hook to traverse over chasms and pick up objects to hurl at enemies. Kratos also obtains a new weapon called the Draupnir Spear, a close and long-range attack spear that is infused with wind elemental magic and can make copies of itself. Kratos can throw multiple spears at an enemy, then have them all explode in rapid succession. The spear is also used to traverse or unblock certain pathways. Each weapon has standard light and heavy attacks. They can be upgraded with runes to allow for magical runic attacks, with slots for a light and heavy magical attack, providing a variety of playstyle options. Additionally, a weapon signature move ability was added, which unleashes a powerful magical attack for the equipped weapon. Another added mechanic is that if on a higher ledge, the player can leap down to perform a powerful weapon attack on enemies below. The developers also revamped the shield for versatility beyond a minor parry. Different shields can be obtained and used offensively or defensively depending on which is equipped. Smaller shields are more for parrying and can stun enemies, while larger ones are more defensive and can create a large wave of energy to knock enemies back. Kratos' Spartan Rage ability was also updated to 3 variants: Fury, Valor, and Wrath. Fury is the standard mode for Spartan Rage, and is identical to the previous game, in which Kratos uses bare-handed attacks to greatly damage enemies. Valor consumes rage energy to restore health, and can also be used as a parry if activated precisely, while Wrath unleashes a powerful weapon attack for the equipped weapon. The character Atreus provides assistance through artificial intelligence, AI, helping in combat, traversal, finding treasures, exploration, and puzzle solving. The player can passively control Atreus by dictating where he fires his arrows with his bow, either in combat or for puzzle solving, as well as what magical spectral animals he can summon to further assist with combat. Additionally, Atreus' combat was updated to reflect his character's growth. He has longer chained combos, may initiate a fight before Kratos, and his magical abilities were expanded. There are also points in the game where another character will accompany Kratos instead of Atreus, and they too can be passively controlled. For the first time in the God of War series, the player can play entirely as a character other than Kratos, not including Ascension's multiplayer. This only occurs during some story missions when Atreus goes off on his own, without Kratos, and the player takes full control of Atreus. His gameplay is similar to Kratos, in that he has close-range combat by hitting enemies with his bow, and he has long-range attacks by using his bow to shoot arrows. Additionally, he has special magical arrows, can create a shield from magic, and can summon magical spectral animals to assist in combat. Atreus also has his own rage ability, in which he transforms into a wolf, and later, a bear, to deal greater damage. During these missions, Atreus typically has another character accompanying him, and the player can passively control this character just as they do with Atreus when playing as Kratos. For some missions, Atreus has a magical floating sword called Ingrid that replaces the accompanying character. The game retains the role-playing video game elements of the 2018 installment. This includes the crafting system, with many of the same resources to create new armor or upgrade existing armor and weapons with better perks. There are also many side quests found outside the game's core narrative. Ragnarök also adds armor transmogrification, transmog, which allows the player to change the appearance of their equipped armor to any other acquired armor without losing any of the equipped armor's stats. Ragnarök has over 70 accessibility options. The game's user interface system was redesigned to allow for more flexibility and readability, and more customization options for combat and interaction systems were also added. All accessibility features from the 2018 installment were retained, but also expanded upon, to allow players to adjust the gameplay to suit their own playstyle and needs. The downloadable content pack Valhalla, released on December 12, 2023, uses elements of the roguelite genre. Players play solely as Kratos through a series of trials in random procedurally generated levels, selecting what relic, shield, and rage ability to use throughout a trial run. At the end of each challenge within a trial, players are allowed to select an upgrade to either a weapon, relic, or stats, such as strength or defense. But these upgrades only last for the duration of that trial run. Each run-through and the completion of specific gameplay challenges unlocks further rewards that are permanently unlocked. Death resets the player back to the start of the trial. The DLC also added new enemies, as well as returning ones from the Greek-era games, such as Cyclopes and Minotaurs. A new variant of the Rage ability was added called Legacy, which lets the player wield the Blade of Olympus, like the Rage ability from God of War 3, 2010. This ability can be used in New Game Plus of Ragnarok. New cosmetic armor appearances were also added, including Kratos' appearance from the original God of War 2005. These can also be applied in NG+. God of War Ragnarok is a 2022 action-adventure game developed by Santa Monica Studio and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. It was released worldwide on November 9, 2022, for both the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, marking the first cross-generation release in the God of War series, and was released for Windows on September 19, 2024. It is the 9th installment in the series, the 10th chronologically, and the sequel to 2018's God of War. Loosely based on Norse mythology, the game is set in mythical ancient Scandinavia and features series protagonist Kratos and his now teenage son, Atreus. Concluding the Norse era of the series, the story follows Kratos and Atreus' efforts to prevent the Nine Realms from being destroyed by Ragnarok, the eschatological event which is central to Norse mythology and was foretold to happen in the previous game after Kratos killed the Aesir god Balder. The gameplay is similar to the previous 2018 installment. It features combo-based combat, as well as puzzle and role-playing elements. Improvements and additions include Kratos' main weapons, a magical battle axe, and his double-chained blades, and a new magical spear. His shield has become more versatile, with different types of shields that have differing offensive and defensive abilities. His son Atreus, as well as some other characters, provide assistance in combat and can be passively controlled, though as a new feature in the series, Atreus is fully controllable in specific story segments. Originally slated for a 2021 release, the game was delayed, in part due to Kratos actor Christopher Judge's health problems in August 2019, and later, the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on development. A free expansion pack titled Valhalla was released on December 15, 2023. Featuring roguelike gameplay and serving as an epilogue to Ragnarok. It follows Kratos as he participates in a series of trials within Valhalla, where he must come to terms with his past life in Greece. Ragnarok received critical acclaim, with critics praising its storytelling, characters, visuals, level design, and quality of life improvements over its predecessor. Minor criticism focused on narrative pacing, certain gameplay mechanics, as well as the excessive hints during puzzles. The game sold 5.1 million units in its first week, making it the fastest-selling first-party launch week in PlayStation history, with over 15 million units sold by November 2023. At the Game Awards 2022, Ragnarok received a leading 11 nominations, including Game of the Year, winning 6. It received a leading 12 nominations at the 26th Annual DICE Awards, ultimately winning 7 awards, including Adventure Game of the Year. It also received a leading 15 nominations at the 19th British Academy Games Awards, the most nominations for any game in the history of the ceremony, from which it won 6 awards, including the EE Game of the Year award. The main protagonists are Kratos, played by Christopher Judge, and his teenage son, Atreus, Sunny Suljic. Kratos is the former Greek god of war, while Atreus is half giant, 1/4 god, and 1/4 mortal, and is also referred to by his giant name Loki. Since the conclusion of the previous game, Kratos and Atreus have been in hiding at their home in the realm of Midgard, training for the inevitable battle ahead of them. They are often accompanied by the head of Mimir, Alistair Duncan, who claims to be the smartest man alive, and is a loyal companion who provides knowledge and counsel. Other major returning characters include Freya, Danielle Basutti, a Vanir goddess, former queen of the Valkyries, and Odin's ex-wife, who seeks revenge against Kratos and Atreus for the death of her son, Balder. And the Huldra brothers, Brock, Robert Craighead, and Sindri, Adam Harrington, a pair of dwarven blacksmiths who assist Kratos and Atreus by forging new gear, and also found a way to travel to other realms without using the realm travel table in Tyr's temple. A new character is Angrboda, Laia de Leon Hayes, one of the last remaining giants hiding in Jotunheim, in a secluded forest called the Ironwood, protecting its animals. Other allies include Ratatoskr, Sungwon Cho, the squirrel guardian of the World Tree, Lunda, Milana Vaintrub, a dwarven blacksmith who is part of Freyr's resistance army, and Skilled, AJ Locasio, a Midgardian refugee who has settled in Asgard. The game's primary antagonist is the Aesir god Odin, Richard Schiff, the king of Asgard and all-father of the Nine Realms. An unseen character in the previous game, he is a pathological liar and manipulator, obsessed with preventing his death at Ragnarok, and will take any means to stop it. He lost an eye while looking into a rift between worlds in hopes of finding answers to prevent the catastrophic event. His ravens, including Hugin and Munin, allow him and the Aesir to travel freely to any realm, and they are his watchful eyes over them. Thor, Ryan Hurst, the Aesir god of thunder and eldest son of Odin, serves as a secondary antagonist. He is the half-brother of Balder and father of Modi and Magni, all of whom Kratos and Atreus killed in the previous game. He wields the hammer Mjolnir, with which he slays giants, despite being part giant himself, and does the bidding of his father, although constantly belittled by him. Another antagonist is the Aesir god Heimdall, Scott Porter, another son of Odin and half-brother to Thor, who has a superiority complex and believes himself untouchable due to his foresight ability. Known as the Herald of Ragnarok, he watches over Asgard for threats, rides atop a Gradungur, a large, horned, lion-like beast named Gulltopper, and possesses the magical horn Gjallarhorn that signals the start of Ragnarok and opens simultaneous realm travel to Asgard. Other characters include Freyr, Brett Dalton, Freya's Vanir twin brother who has been leading a resistance against Odin and the Aesir in Vanaheim. Tyr, Ben Prendergast, the Norse god of war but a peaceful one, who was thought to have been killed by Odin prior to the events of the previous game. Sif, Emily Rose, Thor's golden-haired Aesir wife, who wants Thor to stand up to Odin. Thrud, Mina Sundwall, the daughter of Thor and Sif, who dreams of becoming a Valkyrie and is unaware of Odin's true nature. And Surtur, Chris Browning, a fire giant who lives in Muspelheim. The three Norns also appear, who are the fates of Norse mythology. Earth, Kate Miller, the Norn associated with the past. Verdandi, Emily O'Brien, the Norn associated with the present. And Skuld, Shelby Young, the Norn associated with the future. Kratos' second wife, Atreus' mother, Laufey, Deborah Ann Wool, a giantess who goes by Faye for short, and had died shortly before the start of the previous game, appears in flashbacks to Kratos, preparing him for her death and her final wish, which was the basis of the previous game. The DLC expansion Valhalla sees the return of the Greek sun god Helios, Crispin Freeman, who appears as an illusory head during Kratos and Mimir's journey in Valhalla. Briefly taking Mimir's place, Helios mocks and taunts Kratos about his past and his desire for redemption. Former Valkyries Sigrun, Misty Lee, Gunnar, Anna Campbell, and Air, Sarah Sokolovic, rechristened as shield maidens and who had minor roles in Ragnarok, act as guides for Kratos and Mimir in Valhalla. Near the end of Fimbulwinter, Kratos and Atreus return home, fending off an ambush from a vengeful Freya to find their wolf Fenrir as he dies. Atreus' grief transforms him into a bear, and he battles Kratos before returning to his senses. Thor arrives with Odin, who proposes leaving them alone and keeping Freya away if Atreus abandons searching for Tyr. Kratos refuses, dueling Thor to a stalemate. Odin tells Atreus he will leave Kratos alone if the former comes to Asgard. Kratos, Atreus, and Mimir take refuge at Sindri's home on a branch of Yggdrasil and rescue a pacifistic Tyr in Svartalfheim. In Alfheim, they learn only Asgard is fated for destruction, while other realms survive under a new champion, implied to be Atreus as Loki. Kratos and Atreus argue over the latter's supposed destiny. Atreus is transported to Jotunheim. He meets Angrboda, who shows him a mural, seemingly foretelling Kratos' death in Ragnarok, and Atreus serving Odin. Sworn to secrecy, Atreus is entrusted with spiritual stones containing giant souls, putting one into a snake's body, before returning to Midgard. Freya attacks, but relents, agreeing to spare Kratos if he breaks the curse binding her to Midgard, which she temporarily circumvents by transforming into a falcon. In Vanaheim, Kratos opens up to Freya about his family's deaths in Greece, his vengeance against Olympus, and the emptiness of revenge. After breaking the curse, Freya and Kratos make amends. Kratos argues with Atreus about his deceitful behavior. Atreus flees to Asgard to attempt to prevent Kratos' death. He works with Thor and Thrud to prevent Ragnarök by reassembling an ancient mask for Odin that supposedly grants infinite knowledge. The Norns tell Kratos, Freya, and Mimir that Heimdall is destined to kill Atreus. Kratos and Brok travel to Svartalfheim to forge the Draupnir ring into a spear capable of harming Heimdall. After forging the spear, Brok learns he was once revived by Sindri without a piece of his soul. When he dies again, he can never reach an afterlife. In Helheim, Atreus releases the soulless giant wolf Garm, who tears holes between realms. Reunited with Kratos, Atreus resurrects Fenrir by transferring his soul into Garm, and Kratos and Atreus reconcile. In Vanaheim, Heimdall threatens to kill Atreus. Kratos brutally kills him and claims Galahorn, setting Ragnarök in motion. Atreus returns to Asgard and assembles the mask before escaping with it. Tyr, agreeing to fight, asks for the mask. Suspicious of Tyr's change of heart, Brok realizes he is calling Atreus Loki like Asgardians. Tyr fatally stabs Brok, revealing himself as Odin in disguise, before being driven away. A grief-stricken Sindri, blaming Atreus for Brok's death, abandons the grape. Atreus and Kratos commit to Ragnarök, entering Muspelheim to help Surtur achieve a destined primordial form to destroy Asgard. The realm's united forces gather under Kratos' leadership. He sounds Galahorn to begin the siege of Asgard. It begins poorly, but the tides turn when Angrboda arrives with Fenrir and the Snake, now grown into Jormungandr, who battles Thor, while Sindri destroys Asgard's wall. Thrud and Sif defect after discovering Odin used Midgardian refugees as shields. Thor knocks Jormungandr back in time and battles Kratos, who convinces him to stand down for his family. Odin kills Thor for disobeying. Kratos, Atreus, and Freya fight Odin, defeating him after Atreus shatters the mask. Atreus traps Odin's soul in a stone, which Sindri smashes. Freyr sacrifices himself, buying time for the group to escape to Midgard as Surtur destroys Asgard. Angrboda shows Kratos and Atreus a mural Fae had destroyed, so they could determine their own fate. Atreus resolves to find surviving giants, and bids farewell to Kratos, who discovers a mural depicting himself as a beloved god of peace and justice. Overcome with emotion and finally hopeful about his future, Kratos recruits Freya and Mimir to restore peace. Asgard's Einherjar are cleared out. Freya kills the vengeful Valkyrie Queen Gná and reclaims her mantle. The Aesir relocate to Vanaheim and achieve peace with the Vanir. Thrud wields Mjolnir to honor Thor, and the real Tyr is found and freed in Niflheim. In the secret ending, Kratos, Freya, Mimir, and an unforgiving Sindri attend Brok's funeral in Svartalfheim. During the development of God of War 2018, that game's director Cory Barlog confirmed that the 2018 installment would not be Kratos' last game, and that future games would continue to be set in the Norse environment and include Atreus. A sequel was then teased at the end of that game. It ended with Ragnarök looming, as well as a secret ending that showed a vision of Thor confronting Kratos and Atreus at the end of Fimbulwinter. Following this saw various pre-release marketing materials that included the hidden phrase, "Ragnarök is coming." During the PlayStation 5 PS5 showcase event on September 16, 2020, a new God of War was officially announced for a 2021 release on the newer console. After Sony Interactive Entertainment revealed their plans to support their previous console until at least 2022, it was later confirmed that the game would also release on the PlayStation 4, PS4, in turn marking the first cross-gen release in the series. The game's title was confirmed to be God of War Ragnarök during the following year's showcase event, although earlier that year, the title had accidentally been leaked. Development of the game was impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. In June 2021, head of PlayStation Studios, Herman Hulst, confirmed that the game had been delayed, partly due to the pandemic, as he stated that there were issues getting access to performance capture and talent. Santa Monica Studio issued a statement regarding the delay, which said that while they were focused on delivering a top-quality game, they also wanted to maintain the safety of those involved with the development. The delay brought a unique issue with Atreus actor Sonny Suljic, who was going through puberty during the time of production. Due to the change in his voice, Supervising dialogue designer Jody Kupsko said, "We had to go in and even out that performance so that in the game, it sounds like it took place over a short period of time." Senior producer Ariel Angelotti noted there were no changes to cinematics as a result of the delay, but they had to get creative in how they made the content. In following pandemic guidelines, they had actors stand in for background characters in some scenes, to avoid a situation where too many people were on set. In a series of tweets posted by Kratos actor Christopher Judge in late September 2021, he said that he was the reason that the game was delayed due to surgery he needed in August 2019, and that Santa Monica allowed him time to recover and rehabilitate before continuing production. On July 6, 2022, a new cinematic trailer was unveiled, which confirmed a worldwide release date of November 9, 2022. Another trailer was shown during Sony's 2022 State of Play event on September 13, and it was confirmed that just like the 2018 installment, Ragnarok was done in one shot. Additionally, the game supports options for players to run the game in either higher resolution or better performance, including 4K resolution at 30 frames per second, 1080p resolution at 60 FPS, a high frame resolution mode in 4K at 40 FPS, and a high frame performance mode that syncs to 120 Hz. The latter two high frame options are only available for the PS5 version, and require monitors with HDMI 2.1. Animation director Bruno Velasquez stated that Santa Monica wanted to ensure that Ragnarok was fully optimized for the PS4, and as such, it does not utilize all of the capabilities of the PS5. Velasquez said that the PS4 version is a visual improvement over the 2018 installment, and noted that all of the studio's design goals were achieved on the PS4 version. So the PS5 version is essentially an enhancement of what's already possible on the PS4. The game does, however, include several features exclusive to the PS5 hardware, such as 3D audio, haptic feedback, higher frame rate, and overall better graphics. In terms of design, Velasquez said there were no compromises for the PS4 version, and that the game would essentially be the same experience on both consoles. Santa Monica also confirmed that the game would have a photo mode, but it would be added in a post-launch update. On October 7, 2022, Santa Monica announced that the game had gone gold. Additionally, it was revealed that 8 other studios contributed to the development of Ragnarok, including PlayStation Studios Creative Arts, Valkyrie Entertainment, Bluepoint Games, Red Hot, Super Alloy Interactive, Jetpack Interactive, Super Genius, and Original Force. The exact contribution from each studio was not detailed, except Super Alloy, which worked on motion capture. Super Alloy specifically assisted with combat choreography, and the studio provided stunt coordination and stunt work for the game and key characters. Eric Jacobus also revealed that he again did the combat motion capture for Kratos, just as he did in the 2018 installment, as well as for some other characters. During the 2021 PlayStation Showcase event, Eric Williams, who worked on every previous installment, was confirmed as the game's director, continuing the previous era's tradition of having a different director for each game. Barlog served as a producer and creative director. It was also revealed that Ragnarok would conclude the Norse era of the series. The main reason Santa Monica decided to end the Norse era with Ragnarok was due to the game's size and scale. The 2018 installment and Ragnarok each respectively took about 5 years to develop, and they did not want to take another 5 years, totaling nearly 15 years, to tell one story. Lead writer Rich Gaubert said there were pros and cons to doing a trilogy or ending the Norse era at 2 games. The developers debated this and said that Ragnarok could have been split into 2 games, as it was much larger in scope than they had originally planned. They also had worry if Ragnarok would do the apocalyptic concept justice in just 1 game. This caused some of the team to have concern if the game would be good, as they originally thought that the Norse era would be a trilogy, with Ragnarok split into 2 games. The decision to end the Norse era with Ragnarok was ultimately left to Barlog, and Williams stated that although they had to make adjustments for pacing, the story was not scaled back. Barlog told Williams that with the second game concluding the Norse saga, the 3 important plot aspects of the story that had to be retained were that Ragnarok would happen, Atreus would depart from Kratos in the game's conclusion, and Brock would be killed off, which was a decision Barlog had made during the development of the 2018 installment, as Brock was described as the family dog. Thematically, the game explores what kind of man Kratos would be without his son, and what kind of god would Atreus be without his father. Narrative director Matt Sophos revealed that during early development there was an idea pitched in which Kratos died during his first battle with Thor, and then there would have been a 20-year time jump where Atreus would rescue him from Helheim. This was rejected as Williams did not like it, but he also did not want to repeat a plot sequence that had been done during the Greek games. The emotion and main hook of Ragnarok's actual story were also missing in this proposed idea, and the actual ending worked better for what they wanted to do, which was to say that prophecy and fate are not predetermined.
I realize there's only one thing I need you to know. You have no hold on me anymore.
And that's my frig. I forgot how good you look with wings.
Oh, husband. You always sought knowledge well. Now, I'm going to teach you what it's like to lose everything. Bow to your queen!
I always loved you, you know?
You've never loved anyone!
Father? Freya?
You did it, Loki. No, no more fighting. No, none of that matters now. This is your moment, Loki. Groa tried to hide you from me, but this is your destiny. Champion of the Jotunheim. Only he can put on the mask. Only he can gaze into the truth of creation. Unfold the secrets of life and death. No more doubt, no more confusion. You were born for this. Put on the mask, Loki. Ask it the question.
This is your choice, son. I trust you.
Why did you do that? What was it all for? You choose to be nothing!
Attack!
You've waited a long time for this, haven't you, Frick? So have I!
Too late for that!
I just can't.
Fly! Three against one, and
Don't forget me, old fucker!
what did you call me?
That one's for
Oh!
Sometime later, Kratos receives an anonymous invitation to Valhalla. He and Mimir force their way through its entrance. Kratos' equipment and magical powers are stripped away, and he is defeated in combat. Awakening on the shores outside the entrance, Kratos and Mimir are confronted by Freya and Sigrun. Freya, now Queen of the Realms, had invited Kratos to join her council as the new God of War, but he refused, reluctant to wield such power again after abusing it in Greece. After fighting through Valhalla, Kratos is approached by Tyr, who sent the invitation. Tyr coaxes Kratos to open up and face his past, but Kratos is prevented by his anguish. To master himself and accept his past, Kratos proceeds through more trials, facing manifestations of past foes like Modi and Magni, and appearances from the illusory head of Helios. One attempt goes wrong. Sigrun violates Valhalla's rules to save Kratos and Mimir from a definitive death, weakening her connection to the land. Tyr helps Kratos confront a manifestation of his younger self to overcome his fears and self-loathing. Kratos concludes that although his younger self was spiteful and cruel, he also sacrificed himself to release the power of hope back to humanity, proving there was always good in him. Realizing the difference between serving others and being of service, Kratos makes peace with himself and agrees to join Freya's council as a Norse god of war, championing the ideals of hope. Through more trials in Valhalla, Mimir reveals the depth of his romantic feelings for Sigrun. In the secret ending, Sigrun decides not to endure the trials to restore her connection to Valhalla, instead choosing to leave her post as a shield maiden and travel the world alone to find her purpose, promising to eventually return to Mimir. Near the end of Fimbulwinter, Kratos and Atreus return home, fending off an ambush from a vengeful Freya, to find their wolf Fenrir as he dies. Atreus' grief transforms him into a bear, and he battles Kratos before returning to his senses. Thor arrives with Odin, who proposes leaving them alone and keeping Freya away if Atreus abandons searching for Tyr. Kratos refuses, dueling Thor to a stalemate. Odin tells Atreus he will leave Kratos alone if the former comes to Asgard. Kratos, Atreus, and Mimir take refuge at Sindri's home on a branch of Yggdrasil and rescue a pacifistic Tyr in Svartalfheim. In Alfheim, they learn only Asgard is fated for destruction, while other realms survive under a new champion, implied to be Atreus as Loki. Kratos and Atreus argue over the latter's supposed destiny. Atreus is transported to Jotunheim. He meets Angrboda, who shows him a mural seemingly foretelling Kratos' death in Ragnarok, and Atreus serving Odin. Sworn to secrecy, Atreus is entrusted with spiritual stones containing giant souls, putting one into a snake's body before returning to Midgard. Freya attacks but relents, agreeing to spare Kratos if he breaks the curse binding her to Midgard, which she temporarily circumvents by transforming into a falcon. In Vanaheim, Kratos opens up to Freya about his family's deaths in Greece, his vengeance against Olympus, and the emptiness of revenge. After breaking the curse, Freya and Kratos make amends. Kratos argues with Atreus about his deceitful behavior. Atreus flees to Asgard to attempt to prevent Kratos' death. He works with Thor and Thrud to prevent Ragnarok by reassembling an ancient mask for Odin that supposedly grants infinite knowledge. The Norns tell Kratos, Freya, and Mimir that Heimdall is destined to kill Atreus. Kratos and Brock travel to Svartalfheim to forge the Draupnir ring into a spear capable of harming Heimdall. After forging the spear, Brock learns he was once revived by Sindri without a piece of his soul. When he dies again, he can never reach an afterlife. In Helheim, Atreus releases the soulless giant wolf Garm, reunited with Kratos. Atreus resurrects Fenrir by transferring his soul into Garm, and Kratos and Atreus reconcile. In Vanaheim, Heimdall threatens to kill Atreus. Kratos brutally kills him and claims Gjallarhorn, setting Ragnarok in motion. Atreus returns to Asgard and assembles the mask before escaping with it. Tyr, agreeing to fight, asks for the mask. Suspicious of Tyr's change of heart, Brock realizes he is calling Atreus Loki, like Asgardians. Tyr fatally stabs Brock, revealing himself as Odin in disguise before being driven away. A grief-stricken Sindri, blaming Atreus for Brock's death, abandons the group. Atreus and Kratos commit to Ragnarok, entering Muspelheim to help Surtur achieve a destined primordial form to destroy Asgard. The realm's united forces gather under Kratos' leadership. He sounds Gjallarhorn to begin the siege of Asgard. It begins poorly, but the tides turn when Angrboda arrives with Fenrir and the Snake, now grown into Jörmungandr, who battles Thor while Sindri destroys Asgard's wall. Thrud and Sif defect after discovering Odin used Midgardian refugees as shields. Thor knocks Jörmungandr back in time and battles Kratos, who convinces him to stand down for his family. Odin kills Thor for disobeying. Kratos, Atreus, and Freya fight Odin, defeating him after Atreus shatters the mask. Atreus traps Odin's soul in a stone, which Sindri smashes. Freyr sacrifices himself, buying time for the group to escape to Midgard as Surtur destroys Asgard. Angrboda shows Kratos and Atreus a mural Faye had destroyed so they could determine their own fate. Atreus resolves to find surviving giants and bids farewell to Kratos, who discovers a mural depicting himself as a beloved god of peace and justice. Overcome with emotion and finally hopeful about his future, Kratos recruits Freya and Mimir to restore peace. Asgard's Einherjar are cleared out. Freya kills the vengeful Valkyrie queen Gna and reclaims her mantle. The Aesir relocate to Vanaheim and achieve peace with the Vanir. Thrud wields Mjolnir to honor Thor, and the real Tyr is found and freed in Niflheim. In the secret ending, Kratos, Freya, Mimir, and an unforgiving Sindri attend Brock's funeral in Svartalfheim. Fimbulwinter has arrived, and the fate of the 9 realms hangs by a thread. Kratos wants to hide from his past, but Atreus is chasing a destiny that might lead to his father's death. Today we're breaking down the full, brutal, and emotional journey of God of War Ragnarok. Grab your axe, it's time to face the Allfather. In the end, Kratos didn't just survive the Norse apocalypse, he found a way to be the god he always wanted to be. But what do you think? Did Atreus make the right choice leaving his father behind? Drop your theories in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the 9 realms.